It's going down like this, motherfucker.
This shit is crazy. The following...
Nigga get mad. Say, motherfucker, what you mean you ain't gonna let me in this funky joint? Much money I done spent in here, nigga. I knew your mama when she was hoeing. Hump, baby. Shit, bet I do it over time. Say that, nigga. Shit. Bar, back the bar, off time. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Boy, I'm hungry as a hog need. Slop Jesus. Shit, gotta be a Jesus, cause too many black folks. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money.
Limousine, and every time I'm seen, I got to be clean.
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and...
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
I just left a lot in this bitch. I'm finna hit the shop in this shit.
This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying. This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying. This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying.
You hear what I said?
Yes, bitch, I heard you. I'm pretending like I didn't.
Yeah. Well. Gotta get a piece of my.
Joe Beach. He looked down, seen his feet. The nigga went berserk, killed the monkey, threw the bat out the window, start kicking that bitch in the air.
Say anyway, but I will. The way quantum entanglement works is that you can take two particles, quantum entangle them, and then take those two particles and move them at any distance in the cosmos. And let's just say, for example, if you quantum entangle two electrons and you have them spinning in the same direction, and then you take one of those electrons and you shoot that thing out 100,000 light years from the original. If you then rotate the spin on the one electron, if you modify it so that its spin changes, the quantum entangled electron at any distance will simultaneously in no time switch its rotation also, because they're quantum entangled. So these communication systems are taking advantage of this aspect of quantum mechanics that most people can't wrap their heads around, and this is what they're utilizing. It's just the new level of science that affords us the ability to communicate at any distance instantaneously.
You don't understand. It's cool enough just being cool, like I am, chilling.
Group of you together, you never can tell who's who. I've seen a lot of black guys, Nipsey, but you're overdoing it. Plus, I'm in love with a bitch I can't stand.
I mean, TikTok. A lot of the white content creators on TikTok get all of their dances from the black content creators.
You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. I think very deep. I think very deeply.
First you tell us that it is manly to keep your word. All right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all that the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well then, show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well then, stick to your word. And let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man. You're a worm. You're afraid of us. You're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of us, then tell us that just what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us and holding this up to us, and every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something, and it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children. We're big men. I've seen my father have to put up with all kinds of stuff. He was a big man. He raised a family. He went down south, and he had to go around to the back door with his wife. We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for any favors. All we want is what's ours. Now, there are many black veterans who are coming back, and they're mad. They're angry. Do you think that they're going to sit down through this? Our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we had. They sat through it. But there are other black youth that are not going to sit through it. We know about Che. We know about Fanon. We've read the books of our revolution. We've listened to Mao and his quotations. We know where we stand. We're not going to sit for it. We're asking, and if we ask and we don't get, we're prepared to stand up and take it. If I ask a man, I tell a man I am hungry. I tell him I am cold. And I ask him to do something about my condition. And this man holds a loaf of bread right in front of me so I can see it, and I keep asking him, I'm begging him to please give me a slice of the loaf of bread. I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock him upside the head and take the bread from him. I'm not going to starve to death.
Dance with me. Oh, yeah. Hey, dance with me. Hey, dance with me.
All in your business.
Hold up. You don't know nothing about that shit, bitch.
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama, and you.
Decent white folk that still don't know they're racist.
What the hell you want here, hunky?
You got to pray to God and tell God your rent due. Any God that didn't know your rent was due ain't God.
Don't know me want it. Nigga. I don't mean to be out of line. I don't mean to be out of line.
Where's all that noise? Oh, that's his dad.
The Chinese platform, you already know they don't give a fuck about your black ass. And then
Your lines are still open. Oh shit, you can get it, nigga. You wanna get it?
Come with baggage, just I ain't Louis Vuitton. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that was nice.
I like that. Bitch niggas, hoe niggas, rich niggas, broke bitch. I told niggas this was on, yeah, right. I think we OD'd. I think we OD'd.
My word, can't be my equal, don't know what you heard. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Use a snort cocaine, now I fiend for the check, yeah. Use a snort cocaine.
Some people, they feel like you almost have to sell your soul to get fame, or is it just hard work, or is it luck, is it consequence, is it?
No, most of us in sold our soul. We just called it something else.
Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come in. I hit the loot juice and pulls up in the dude. Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come.
Like I said, you go to the history of European civilizations. 250 years is how long they last before they implode, because of their greed, because of their violence, because of an inability to let others be. including themselves. If they didn't have brown and black people to hate, they would hate themselves.
Do that dance, baby, do that dance, let's work it out.
Slapping folks is satisfying. She don't like me, but I didn't know. Guess it was underlying.
To the east, to the west, to the south, above, below, in the middle. Greetings. This is Big Pontiac, and welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins, and I am that one and only Galactic Daddy-O, welcoming each and every one of you to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. Well, that's my cue to come on in and say welcome to all the people that tuned in and will eventually tune in, or if they don't, that's cool too. But I saw that my main man PJ Allen is here.
Got to have vision.
What's happening, Marcus the Great?
Got to have vision.
Dr. Sinister.
Got to have vision.
Well, I'm going to get right into it. I don't feel the greatest. I've been fighting a headache for the last hour or so. So I'm going to get right into week number 5. I did very well today. I must say this has been my best week since week 1. I went 9-4 today, and I was up early out there. How many of y'all got up early to watch that first game? I got up early. I got up about 8 o'clock, and I ain't go to bed till about 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I got up early and saw the Vikings play. There was a couple plays in the Vikings. This is like when the Vikings lost. What was it? When the Vikings lost, or what was it? When the Vikings lost the punt, that was a bogus play. But it was another play where the person hit the other person's leg. What was that? Somebody commented, and it was like that play. That play was, it was a couple odd plays, but yeah, that play where they punted and the dude hit the punter's, not hit the punter's leg, but hit the return person's leg and caused a fumble or something like that. And then I showed the one where they called roughing the kicker. Now they were just point shaving in that. In that game, that was total point shaving. If you saw my short video about that, that was total point shaving. I mean, it was a nothing play. Nothing happened. It was some bullshit. And again, just like the game that just ended now, it was like point shaving. You know, it was some point shaving going on. There's no way you didn't see that. And here we go. I'm going to show you that. Point shaving play. Now watch, they called this 15, and no way, shape, and form is this a 15-yard penalty. And look at the defender. That's nothing. That's not even 5. That's a play on. That's a play on. And they only did that because when the Vikings got the ball, was going to be on the 40-yard line, they was going to score again. So this was done to shave points, to keep the Jets in the game because the Jets look so sorry and Rodgers looked so sorry. So that was some bullshit there, y'all. That was some bullshit. That was definitely some bullshit. Did y'all see that? Did y'all just check this out? I made another video about the kicker. The kicker made a business decision. He did a Cam Newton. Remember when Cam Newton didn't go after the fumble? Watch the kicker not go after the ball. He seriously does not try to get this fumble. Now watch the kicker. Just concentrate on the kicker. Look at that. He's like, no, I'm not getting in there. He's like, yeah, I'm too important to get in there with that rough stuff. I just kicked the ball 50, 60 yards. But damn if I'm jumping on a fumble. This motherfucker was not jumping on a fumble. Watch it, watch it. Ah, he ran back and he still got popped. So, you know, we see that kind of shit. We have to just laugh, y'all. It's just funny. It's just funny, y'all. That's all. It's just funny. But we see that kind of thing. So we know it's definitely a business decision. That's all. Oh, and okay, so today, Thursday night I won the Falcons. I picked the Jets and the Vikings. I picked the Bears. I lost the Colts and the Jags. That was a big surprise. I lost the Dolphins and the Pats. Again, the Dolphins played. Won the Ravens, Bengals. Texans I got. Broncos, Raiders I got. I lost the 49ers. I know they got some injuries. Big surprise was the Giants and Seahawks. I know the gamblers was happy with that outcome because everybody had the Seahawks at home, I'm pretty sure. Everybody, I'm pretty sure, had the Seahawks at home. I won the Packers, Rams. Of course, I won the Cowboys, and I won Cleveland and the Commanders. The Commanders are playing well. So that made me 9-4 today. That made me 9-4. So for the year, that would put me at 47-27. So for the year right now, I'm 47-27. Yep. 47-27. No, 48. No, 47. Yeah, that's right. So right now I'm 47-27 for the year. And again, we still have tomorrow night. It's only, I think it's only one game tomorrow night. So, I've been pretty good with my picks this year. I've had some funs with my picks. And it's always, you try to, do the best you can do. That's all. Just do the best you could do. He evaded on purpose. Yes, he absolutely evaded on purpose. He did not want that smoke, as they say. He was like, yeah, no. He was like, he thought about it. He's like, yeah, I better not. I fuck around and get popped. For real, get popped. And he got still a little contact, but he didn't get no contact like if he'd have jumped in that pile. So he wasn't trying to do that at all. He wasn't trying to jump in the pile. So that was kind of funny. I thought that was funny. It's like definitely a business decision. So, and then the game that just ended, Dak still sucked. I mean, he made that last throw, and that was the best throw of the day. That last throw was definitely the best throw of the day. Because Zach threw some bad throws. I mean, he really did. And in that Packers games, when Love did some point shaving in the end zone, you drop the ball and you just throw it up for grabs. I mean, that was some point shaving too. That was when Love just threw it right to the Ram player. Now, come on now. You ain't going to just take the safety. Just give up 2 instead of giving up 7. Just give up the 2. So that was a little bit of point shaving too. I was like, look at this here. Man, it looks like right now it's 43 degrees. Is that for real? Is that cool? It's 47 degrees. It's been windy and a motherfucker up here. It's really 47, 43. Yeah. It says 43 on the computer. My phone says 45. So it's cool. It's only going to be 69 tomorrow. And I didn't walk all weekend. I usually take off, let my knee, some of this inflammation come out. So I've been lazy the last 2 days. I didn't do too much. Just kind of chilled. Yeah, just kind of chilled and watched games. What's happening? Elmore Amaru Khan, also known as El Doesn't. What's happening?
Got to have vision.
Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So yeah, today was a pretty lazy day. Just got up early. My son came over. We had Japanese. He talked my wife into not getting me what the fuck I wanted. I wanted Panda Express. They got some barbecue chicken that's pretty good. Yeah, I didn't get that. They stopped and got me some bullshit Thai food, which was good shrimp, but the food itself was bullshit. So, sometimes, because this nigga wanted some old soup shit he could put a bunch of meat in. Oh. And I'm going to tell you, let me see if I can find some of this. Y'all been watching this is what's interesting about our country and what people don't understand. What happened in Appalachia and in Tennessee is it affected, how do I want to say this? It affected poor whites, or some people would call them poor white trash, but poor whites. Up in them mountains, we know up in them mountains is mostly poor white folks. And this is what's interesting. Maybe finally these poor white folks will see that the government don't give a fuck about them either. They don't pay a lot of taxes because these areas are small areas. I mean, what the fuck do they do? Not to say there's not some people that do some, decent work, but for the most part, poor white folks don't pay a lot of taxes. And so what was just shown by this storm is they don't give a fuck. Now, I don't know about the lithium. We know BlackRock. Oh, this is what's interesting. BlackRock is a subsidiary of the company that's going to get the quartz and the lithium. But you know who's really going to benefit from that quartz and lithium? Kamala's husband. Kamala's husband is over the board of one of those subsidiary companies once they start mining. And his wife is on one of them boards to give the okay as vice president. So if that ain't some insider trading, yeah, that's some insider training. But yes, these people have to understand that the government don't give a fuck about y'all. They only care about real tax-paying people. That's all they really care about is the people that pay the big taxes, not you people that don't pay taxes. And it's like, it was like, when Reagan came in and Reagan was saying, the welfare queen. When reality, more Europeans is on welfare than melanated folks. I've said this time and time again. When I had a contract at the welfare office with the government, I was amazed. And this was 88, 89. 88, 89. I had a contract at the welfare office. And I was amazed that there was more European come in there, or is the true thing, the Asiatic European. What else do they call them? Neanderthals, the relative of the Neanderthals, the Neanderthal relatives. Because melanated folks ain't got any Neanderthal in them. But anyway, I was amazed that day after day, they outnumbered almost 10 to 1. 10 to 1. That's how many more Europeans came in there than melanated folks. It was almost 10 to 1. But yet Reagan is on TV talking about, the welfare queen, and we got to go after. And it was like every time you would see in the 80s, you would see somebody on welfare. It was a melanated person. When reality, more Europeans or Asiatic Europeans is on welfare than melanated folks. So this, we see this and we feel bad for these people. Some people saying that the National Guard ain't coming up. Did you guys see where the trailer, like they showed where the tractor trailer hit a pole and it snapped in two, but did you see the one where the trailer's floating down? Let's see if I can find that one. Let's see if I can find it. Where it's a motherfucking trailer. It is a fucking trailer going down the river and shit. See if I looked at that shit so early that it might not still. It's going to be buried deep. See if I can find it. Might be buried too deep. Let's see. You know, nigga just be scrolling all day. Let's see. See if I can find this shit with his trailers going down. Fuck some shit up. Yeah, I watched this shit this morning. Some of this shit I ain't even looked at. No, it's too far. Whoops, that ain't it. This ain't it. I don't know. It's too far back. But it showed a trailer. It showed a motherfucking trailer like going down the middle of the street, y'all. It was going down the middle of the fucking flooded out road. Okay, I guess it ain't gonna go back that far. Well, maybe here. Let's see if it's gonna go back far enough for me to see. I don't think this is it. No, that's a motherfucking sword. Well, I don't know if I can find this shit. Let's see. Because I watched it this morning, so I don't know how far I got to go back to find it. But that shit was wild. Did y'all see the people standing in the house? All of them in the house, and they in waist deep water. Like they ain't had nowhere else to go, so they was forced in the house in knee deep, waist deep water. And when the water does go, is this it? Is this it? No, this is not it. But when water does dry, you fight mold. You got the mold to fight. So you have to make sure you cut all that mold out your drywall. Because, that shit, black mold will make you sick. Believe me, I know. I lived in a house and I didn't realize they had black mold. And that shit fuck with my asthma really bad. I don't think it's there. Let's see. Is it down here? I watched it this morning, so probably so buried. Whoops. And I ain't watched this nigga. I don't know why it popped up because I didn't even watch his ass. Oh, and let me touch a little bit on the John Amos situation. As I said before, I'm friends with John Amos's daughter. So apparently John Amos had told his son or made that he didn't want his daughter to know because she was going to do a big thing about it. So that's why they didn't tell her that's why they didn't tell her, and she learned when everybody else learned that he had passed. And again, we know they released it because of the date too, is why they released it. Is this it? This is not it. I didn't even watch that shit, so why is it showing me that shit? So, I can't find it. Let's see. House floating down river. Trailer floating down flooded lake. Flooded river. See if that'll bring it up. What the fuck was I fucking typing for? Let's see. This might be it here. Let's see. Oh, well, this is something different, but this is still showing the devastation. It's still showing the devastation. Get this commercial out the way. Here we go. Look at this shit. This is a motherfucking house. Look at that motherfucking house. A whole big ass house floating down. Look at that shit. That's a whole motherfucking house. You imagine if that shit was your shit? So that wasn't the one though. It was another one. Let's see. It showed me. Then I saw a house cave in. Let's see. This is the tractor trailer that ripped open. Sure y'all saw this by now. Look at that. Look at that. The power of that water just to bend that motherfucker around a pole. You know? Just to bend that motherfucker around a pole. Yeah, this is, it's fucked up, And those people live up in the mountains where, it's obvious it was some kind of HARP, some kind of weather warfare. Again, and that's the sad thing is that our government would wage war against us. And that's the reality is they don't, Michael Jackson told you, they don't really give a fuck about us. That's what Michael Jackson said, and that's the real. They want your taxes. They want your taxes. They have the free spending because that's what they do with your tax money. They free spend it. Hey, Mark Scales, how you doing?
You got to have vision.
They want your tax money because we get taxed. We get, it's like, it's ridiculous. They tax your check. Then you go to buy something, they tax. So, I mean, they have unlimited, and they act like our money is unlimited. These people go to Congress. These people become senators. Pelosi is a prime example. She wasn't worth $100 million before she went in. Look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden was one of the broke senators. I mean, he had to sacrifice a wife, a daughter, and a son for his rise, but he was one of the poorer people that came into the Senate. And look at all the bread he has now. Look at all the bread his son has. Now he's a lame duck. You don't hear him going after the son anymore. Now he's a lame duck. It makes you wonder, like, why do they call him out for anything? And then he tried to pass some bill, more stringent gun bills. Nobody likes a lame duck. Your shit is over. So, I'm always buying shit. Oh, I should have brought my wife's shoes in here. She bought some nice shit. But I bought this Kango, and this is made of wool. And this is called a wool mulberry. And this was $66. Same price if I'd have ordered it. But this is wool winter hat. Stingy brim. I don't know if y'all into stingy brims. But yeah, this is the stingy brim. Got to put it up in one of the cases because it is wool. But yeah, I like Kangos. This is quality. This is wool, real wool. So I like this kind of shit. So I picked that up at Electric Fetus. We got a place that only place in town that sells Kangos. Now I was gonna get let me see. Oh, what is it? Oh, there we go. That ain't it. Oh, this is just eBay. I don't want eBay. I do not want eBay. Yeah. Golly. I'm spelling it right. No, I'm not. Oh. Is it? Oh, okay. Now I have this one right here. I have this one. I think these are 504s. It's a 504. No, I don't want to buy no shit. Kango driving cap. No, this is not a 504. Let's see, 507. I don't like these kind of caps. I was gonna get the furry one like this, but it just didn't look good to me. I don't know what this driving cap is. And you know, I got behind me, I got, let's see. It ain't showing me the one I want to. Caps, men's hats. All right, I don't need that. Oh, home. Oh, fall styles. Yeah, I'm not really into the LL Cool J one. I'm into these 504s. Yeah, I'm not really into these. It was the one with the fuzzies. Not really into those. Not really into those either. I would look stupid as hell with a raspberry beret. Oh, really? I can get one for $29? Let's see. Oh, the red one for $29? Because that's what they'll do. They'll clickbait you to say, okay, one is cheaper. Still 61. See, none of which one is 29? I don't have a baby blue one. So I do like these 504s. I got this one. Don't have the dark blue. I just bought this one the other day. I don't know. I ain't got no purple. Might have to get this. I might have to get this baby blue one. As you see, let's see. Yeah, the price don't change. The price does not change. But I wanted to get one of the furry ones like LL wears. Oh, this one. Yeah, this one right here. This black one right here, they had this. And it wasn't 88, it was 68. In my store, this one was 68, not 80. 68. It just didn't look good on me. Didn't look good on me. So I passed on this one. I still might get a 504 with this material. What do they call it? Fugara 504. But yeah, I thought about getting this. It'd go good with the minks I got, but yeah, it didn't look good on me. So I can't fuck with the LL Cool J style, you know. But I've been buying Kango hats, shit, for the past 40 years. Yeah, now I might get one of these. I've been debating, and I can get, my store sells these. That doesn't have this one. Doesn't have this one. And so I've been debating on getting. I like this style. I definitely like this style. And I was going to get a white one. No, I think they're just here. Yeah, I was thinking about getting one of these. It'll match my winter fur, my white one. Where's the one with the... And I like the powder blue ones too. And I could have got one of these for about $30, and I missed the sale. So I like these too. So I might get one of these, especially this white one. So just the kind of shit I like, y'all. That's all. It's just the kind of stuff I like. I like that kind of stuff. Now I'm going to break down. I went to see the Joker, and I didn't like the first one. I thought the first one was super slow, so I ain't watch all of it. I watched the second one, and I'm gonna tell you, cigarette companies must now back a lot of movies and television, like that Fight Night movie. It's almost a cigarette in every scene. In Joker, it literally was every scene was a cigarette, other than when they was in court. That was the only time you didn't see a cigarette involved, which I talked about a few years ago about a Sean Penn movie. And it was the same way. With Sean Penn, he had to smoke in every scene. That's what this movie is. It is a cigarette in every scene, other than when they're in court, which is a very short period. It is a musical. It's funny. You would think when you saw the highlights, the trailers, they would tell you this motherfucker is a musical. This movie's a straight up musical. I guess you should kind of get it with Lady Gaga. But this motherfucking movie is a musical. It is so many singing musical. And so the premise is basically this nigga's in prison, criminally insane prison in Arkham, which, and is in Gotham City. Gotham is supposed to be. Originally, Batman was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then when Superman was in, what is Superman at? But it's the opposite. So technically, Batman is supposed to be in Chicago. Superman's supposed to be in New York. Batman's supposed to be in Chicago. So it's that kind of premise, but it's nothing like Harley Quinn is called Lee. They call her Lee. So he gets it since he ain't been doing shit, and whatever is wrong with his shoulder, I can only imagine what Corey Holcomb's shoulder looked like because it is something fucked up on his shoulder. It looks like his shoulder's been dislocated. Maybe is that in the other movie? I don't know. And I'll say it's not a bad movie. The screenplay is good. But if you want to see that shit, keep in mind, there's a lot of motherfucking singing. I mean, a lot of singing. He's singing, Lady Gaga's singing, they're singing together. So it's a lot of fantasy roles. So anyway, he gets to go into he's in the prison part of the crazy house. Lady Gaga has checked herself in because she's a rich girl, which later you find out. So her whole goal was to hopefully see him. So she sees him and supposedly falls in love with him and shit. They do she lights the motherfucking room on fire, so they can do a fake escape. And so, they kind of can tell their love for each other. Some kind of way she pays the guard and goes into his cell and gives him some. So it uses the name Joker, but it's nothing like Joker. So it's all about him going to trial to see if he's going to get the death sentence or he's going to stay where he's at. Because he was deemed, criminally insane to stand trial. So he's too crazy to stand trial, right? So that's why. So they wanted to retry him to show that he was fit to stand trial. So he does. And at first he's like his regular nerdy self. And then all of a sudden, and these people are so fucked up is they ain't even got bathrooms in their cells. They ain't even got they give them a pot that they can shit. They just show them emptying it to piss. But I think they have to shit in the pot too. So every day when they leave their cells, they got to have their pots and they show them as a big sink where they pour their piss down. So these niggas is in hard jail. The guards beat their ass every now and then. So anyway, this nigga goes to trial. So most of it is just fantasy where he's dreaming about shit. And so they go to trial, and then all of a sudden he wants to be Joker. He fires his lawyer and wants to be Joker. Then to speed this shit up, he decides he don't want to be Joker anymore. Lady Gaga is disappointed, and the people that follow him, and they walk out of court. So Lady Gaga like, you ain't gonna be Joker, fuck you, I'm leaving. So she leaves. So, he's talking to the jury and shit, and all of a sudden the motherfucking courtroom blows up. So you think Harley Quinn is finally going to save this nigga. No Harley Quinn to save this nigga. They blow the courtroom up. The nigga's escaped. He escaped. You don't know who's dead or not, but once his ears quit ringing, he escapes. Some Joker fans pick him up, and he panics and runs out the car. Then he runs up to these stairs where he's supposed to meet Lee, and he goes up the stairs, and she's like, yeah, we're not gonna be together. You're not Joker anymore. And all of a sudden, the police know where this nigga's at. The shit's been blowed up, so I guess you're supposed to think that she called the cops to tell him where he's at. Because if he would have stayed with the two dudes that had him in the car, he could have got away. But no, this nigga, they take him back to jail. And then the guard set him up because the guard tells him he has a visitor, but the guard everywhere else in the movie, when he went somewhere, it was a guard with him. This time there's no guard, and he gets shanked in the hallway, and that's how it ends. So it was a okay movie. wasn't gonna say it's a great movie. It was an okay movie. It was not boring and slow as the first one. The first one was boring and the first one was super slow. So it wasn't boring and slow, I'll say that. But was it worth seeing? I don't know. Would I recommend it? Not really. Not really. I mean, if you thinking if you're a cartoon person and you think it's anything like a cartoon, nothing like it. The best part of the movie really was it was a cartoon in the beginning, was almost like Me and My Shadow. That was the best part of the whole thing, because the shadow takes over the real Joker, so it was kind of showing the ego or that he was almost two people. That was the best part of the movie. And then the way he leans back when he walks and shit, that was kind of cool. But smoking in every fucking scene kind of turns me off. I mean, every fucking scene. Everybody's smoking. Lady Gaga smoking. He's smoking. Every scene. And you know, they showed a trailer where it blow a cigarette shotgun. That is so gross. And he must be super short. That's why he was able to play Napoleon, because he was super short. Because Lady Gaga, when I went to South Carolina and went to the Wax Museum, Lady Gaga must be 4'9". She's almost a midget, if y'all didn't know. And in the movie, he's barely taller than her, so he's probably damn near a midget himself. So I give it out of a 10, I give it a 4.5. I think that's fair. Wasn't boring, but it was like you were waiting for like the real criminal element. Now remember, in the other one, he kills the three people. He kills the three people in the subway, which they needed to be killed. He kills the Maury. He kills him, which I don't know. That could have been hit and miss if he killed him. Then he later tells that he killed 6 people because he said he killed his mama. So, and you know, he was abused as a child and all that, but so I don't know if I'm going to see the movie with Pharrell. You know, the Pharrell is doing the Blocks and shit. You know, he's doing a movie where he's the Blocks. So I don't know if I'm gonna see that. So that was the newest movie I went to see. I don't know. It's this movie's coming out, so you know, it's more movies coming out. I think a lot of people want to see when Denzel plays Africanus. And that's like, if you really study Europe, Germany had black kings. Ireland, let me see, it's Ireland had black kings. I'm stuck. But it's like Switzerland. You had a lot of melanated people that once were over these other countries. And we know King James was actually a melanated person too because of his mother. And even they're even saying that King Charles was melanated too, or partly melanated. So we know Princess Charlotte came, her people was, you know, melanated. So the King James Bible dude who was into demons, into gayness, that killed Queen Charlotte was a melanated person. And so this is when you look at Europe and when they call it the Dark Ages and the Black Plague, because that's what people forget, is that's who really they killed with the Black Plague, was a lot of the melanated folks was killed during the Black Plague. So it wasn't just the Moors. When you see all these statues of Moors, no, there was deep old families that had kingdoms in the so-called Europe. That's why, you know, this term European, that you have to say the Asiatic Europeans or the Neanderthal related people. You dig? Because Europe had a lot of black royalty, a lot of just black folks that did different shit. So it had nothing to do with the out of Africa shit, you know, again, because people was in America just like they was in Africa. People was already in America too. So that, you know, that life started in Africa is some bullshit. You know, if you look at some of the steles in South America, the Mayan calendar goes back billions of years. Some of those steles tell times and tell of kingdoms going back billions of years. Like unlimited time that melanated folks was in the Americas. So that Africa shit only benefits the Asiatic European. That's why they push it. And that's why they're so in love with Kemet. You know, Kemetan people try to tell you that, you know, the Arabs, there's a video where the Arab get mad because trying to, you know, telling the truth. Kemet is in Africa. So the Arabs didn't conquer that area until what, the 1500s. So the Arabs that, and the Arabs didn't, I've said before, the Arabs didn't give a fuck about that shit. Nobody gave a fuck about that shit in Kemet. The Arabs definitely didn't. If you're looking from the 1500s until Napoleon went in there in the 1800s, that's almost 3 years. And them Arabs did not give a fuck about that thing, about the Kemet. So it was Napoleon when he went in there and started taking that shit back and finding some of that stuff that the Europeans took interest. And then, later they let the Arabs have some of that shit back. Give us our shit back. Because, if Europeans could have kept that shit, and they kept a lot of shit. They talking about Howard Carter and how much of the King Tut shit his family has to this day. We know there's items that we, wasn't even exposed to. And so that's funny that Arabs try to claim that they was the people when we know they didn't come into that area until the 1500s when they conquered the area. So that's just the whitewashing of history. And the same with Europe when they go back and paint over people. But what they forget is there's books that describe these people. And the word swarthy means a melanated person. And then you can go into Benjamin Franklin and his description of Germans, the Haitians. And they were more swarthy people. Some of the Irish were more swarthy people. Scottish. And this is why they enslaved and starved to death some of these people. Made them build the road to nowhere just so they kill some of these people off. And the English did to the Irish what they want to do to us and what they did to other countries. Steal all your food and then say you're lazy. It's like, the porch monkey syndrome. When the melanated people was in slavery, or really war bondage, when the melanated people was in war bondage, we wasn't lazy then. But all of a sudden, when people were free from being in the war, prisoners of war, all of a sudden we lazy. You see how the stereotype works? See how it works? Wasn't lazy before, but all of a sudden you're lazy. The porch monkey syndrome. So, and we still suffer. I got a book downstairs called The Children of Jim Crow. I think I mentioned it last time. I started reading it a little bit. But, the psychological thing that had to do to the children that grew up in that. And how that still was part of their personality. That's still inside them. Like my mother talks about driving, because my great uncle, her uncle taught at Southern. And so they went down to Southern's in Texas, right? Yeah, Southern's in Texas. No, Southern's in New Orleans. But my mother took a trip to Texas as a girl, and she took a trip to New Orleans. And that Green Book, they talk about the movie with the Green Book, she said that was real. I mean, even my own life going to Mississippi, it was still, they was telling us don't, and I mean as a little boy, they're still telling us, leave white folks, leave Europeans alone, Asiatic Europeans alone. So even in my lifetime, and I've told the story before how the communists killed, Union people in the early 80s. So Jim Crow, has only really been over for 20, 30 years. Now, I'm not playing the victim or anything like that, but let's call it what it really is. Some of these Jim Crow situations just ended. And then there's still places where they say there's sundown towns. They don't really like you there. I went to a restaurant here. These people looked at us really fucked up. My wife and I was about to go in, and them people coming out of the place gave us such a look. Well, we was like, yeah, we ain't going in this motherfucker. So there's still those attitudes out there. But remember, what is it? The Spike Lee movie. Remember when they say Michael Jordan, they don't include him. Isn't it funny how they like our sports heroes, but they don't like the people? And what are they saying? Do the right thing. That Michael Jordan ain't black. He's not melanated. He's just our hero. Oh, what I kick over? Oh, Baton Rouge, Louisiana is where Southern is. My cousin takes us past there every time we leave the airport. She's locked. She's locked in. I think she's down with them. Okay. yeah, Louisiana. Yeah. Because I didn't play down there. The next year they played them. They played them the next year, the year I didn't play. So I never got to play a Southern. And by then, I think my great uncle had retired by then anyway. Because that nigga was born in my grandmother was born in 1513. I think he was born in 1911. My grandmother was born in 15. And 15 has played a significant part in my life. My basketball number was 51. So, and then if you look at my football number was 19. So my numbers together was 1915, 1951, 1915. So you see how numbers kind of correlate in your life, how they go together. And to me, that meant the most to me. You dig? So how long I've been going? I would say my head's feeling a little better. Why is this? The watch is playing music. I don't think music is going on this motherfucker. Oh, it was. I got it turned off. This motherfucker's playing its ass off. Okay. But yeah, Electric Fetus is kind of like Hard Rock Cafe. It's a place where you can go get records. I had to get a record cleaner to wipe the records off. So, as I've talked about before, I'm going to start putting my stereo together. Because, I want that crisp sound. And then that small stereo I'm going to bring up here so I can listen to records. Because, the vinyl has a different vibration for you. That the needle and the vinyl, but I'll put the good system downstairs. I'll put that small system up here. So when I meditate, I like listening to jazz. And if I mentioned this before, I'm just repeating myself. But it's funny, like, this is where I meditate. I meditate here. I always face east, which east is that way for me. But anyway, it's like we stroll so much. It's like when I meditate, I close my eyes and I still see the screen. Like, I mean, literally scrolling. Like something will be scrolling in my subconscious. It's like I'll close my eyes and before the colors start coming, before I go into the ethers, it's like the shit'll be scrolling. Now the same thing, like you look at the TV, then you turn off the TV and you close your eyes to go to bed and you'll start seeing a little bit of the TV. But this is kind of different because it was actually showing me shit I ain't even looked at. I was seeing scenes where I ain't even looked at these scenes. So that's how deep these phones get into our subconscious, where the shit is still playing out because we're exposing ourselves. And it's almost like we get these phones and we hypnotize ourselves with them. I mean, we literally hypnotize ourselves with the phones. And I'm just as guilty as everything. I mean, these phones is just as addictive as anything, especially when you're bored. Like now people walk. Motherfuckers don't mind walking anymore. They, remember the Pokemon? These motherfuckers are running in front of a car looking for a Pokemon. These are so much a part of us. They keep us not bored. Like a nigga got a phone, you ain't bored. Or your tablet, whatever the fuck, you're not bored. But sometimes you do gotta, break yourself from them. But like when you go to work, you have a break. First thing you want to do is pull the phone out, see what's going on in life. It's like we don't, children aren't taught to use their imagination. And I think really like me, I've told the story before, playing with dolls helped me. They were male dolls. The popularity of Barbie, they started making dolls for boys. And I think that really helped my imagination. I had a Johnny West, was it Captain Neo, that you could put the different kind of outfits on and shit. And, playing all these war games with them. Or putting army men down on one side, like put army men down on two sides. And, use the marble to roll them over. Okay, this is how many died on this side, turn on the other side. This is how many, roll them over on the other side. I used to play all those kind of imagination games. Because to be spiritual, you have to be able to get into your imagination. And I'm pretty sure your imagination helps keep your third eye, your pineal gland, open. Because without imagination, it's not going to open very deep for you because you can't imagine it being open. You can't imagine that you can go into the ethers, that you can meditate, you can turn off all the noise and just get deeper into yourself. And that's why you need imagination. I mean, even ideas, even the way you plan trips, even, everywhere you go, you can use your imagination. It's like you drive across the city to go to a store. You map out where you're going. So your imagination will map out where you got to go. Planning. When you plan, that takes imagination. But these phones take it away from us because the phones are the imagination. And that's the danger. Like now, my daughter and them can't have their phones at school. They have to stay in their backpacks. They ain't got to turn them in, but they got to stay in their backpacks. Now, imagine they want to go in the bathroom and look at them. I don't even think they can take them out at lunch. And it's like video games. I'm just as guilty about video games. I've never, like I've said before many times, video games is kind of behind me, the generations. Like my brother is 56. He started with Atari. But television was the first video that you could buy, and it had Pong on it. And that's how me and him would play Pong. He had Pong in television. You had a little clips in the back for the TV. I don't know if y'all remember the old channel TVs. It had a clip in the back, and you screw that clip in, and that's how you get the screen from the television. Now, some of you remember how you would take over you use the VCRs. Before the TVs had to plug in. Do you remember the VCRs? You had to use that little clip and for you to turn to channel 3 or 4 for the VCR to take over. If any of you are that old. But the television, you had to have that clip and you screwed it into the TV, and that's how you got the Pong on the TV. If any of you, But that was about as much as I played. I remember when I came back and took him and his future wife out on a date, I dropped him off at the arcade. So this is 1980, the Christmas of 80, or the Christmas of 79 going into 80. I ain't want to be in no fucking arcade. I remember he was showing it to me. It's like, yeah, everybody hangs out. This is the shit. And I'm like, yeah, I like pinball. And I don't even think the arcades had pinball. I liked playing pinball. So, and it's like even now, I don't like playing motherfucking, what do you call it? I'm an old man, but where you put the dollar in and you had the arm. I don't need slot machines. I don't even like the new slot machines. At least with the one arm bandage, you interacted. Now you just pushing the button, sticking at $1, pushing the button, sticking at $1, pushing the button, sticking at 20, pushing the button. And people become engrossed with that shit. I watched one lady put about $300. It was a roulette, electric roulette. I was watching her just feed that motherfucker with hundreds. She's just feeding that bitch with hundreds. Playing that bullshit roulette that you really ain't got a chance to win. So. Oh, you have pinball games on the PS5. Yeah, and I've had friends that had the big machines in their houses too. I had machines that had the actual big ones where you had to hit the thing and then we used to have mini ones, small ones we'd play the shit out of. We had the Japanese pinball ones. I remember when I was a child, people had them in their houses. The ones that stand up and you had the little balls and shit and you put the balls in. I forget how to play the Japanese pinball. I don't know if there's a place out in the Mall of America that used to have the Japanese pinballs. There was a restaurant, and there was a part of the restaurant that had the Japanese pinballs in them. Remember, they stood straight up like this and had to. So I don't quite remember how they work, but I know them when I see them. So if anybody understands what I'm trying to describe. And so imagination is a big part of your life, no matter how old you are. And that's in your knowing. Because that's where, belief takes away from imagination. Because you're starting to take on thoughts of something else instead of your own imagination with your own spirituality. You start taking on the basis of that belief, which comes from somewhere else. Doesn't come from inside of you. Knowing comes from inside of you and what you've prepared yourself. Like my wife and I arguing like a motherfucker about the weather and shit, It's like we arguing like a motherfucker, like we argue about politics. We don't argue about each other in our relationship, but we argue about politics and shit. And, she didn't understand about weather warfare. And one thing that in the Forrest Gump movie, that he says is when he's in Vietnam, he says, sometime it rained sideways. He says, sometime it looked like the rain was coming from the dirt and going up. But what he's telling you is, when they were seeding, trying to flood out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And so I was, I started off talking about what's just happened with this big storm. And it's just the money that's about to come out of that area. Oh, there's another video where they're bulldozing a brother's house, and he's like, hey, hey. And some of the people say they already bulldozing houses there. So you see, it's just like when they burn the people out in Maui. Same thing. They want to take over that land. So. And everything that's going on around us that we're so out of control, the thing that we can control is our spirituality, our imagination, our minds. Because they do so much to try to calcify your first eye, your pineal gland. They try to calcify it so you don't use it. So you can't get into yourself. You can't wake up the God in you. Because that's where it's at. It's in you. It's not outside of you. And I've said before, dying is like a wall that's painted. You become the paint and they paint you into the wall. It's pretty much like that. You go back into being stardust again. So what's scary about that? You go back in and, you sing with the source. That sound you hear in your ear, you become that sound with the source. The sound that the source makes, you become that part of that sound. Because that sound is you. Source energy, you become source energy. So what's so scary about that? They want you afraid of it. They want you to want this place. And they want you to linger and want what you see on TV and what others have. That's where the haters come in. When everything you have is enough. Because one thing about humans is uniqueness. Like we can take, anything and it looks different on us and the world takes notice. Look at the way he's wearing that. He turned his hat to the side. That is so clever. I mean, we're a very clever people. So the world takes notice of how we carry ourselves, how we wear our clothes. They take notice of that. They say they hate us, but they love our culture. So they're always looking to see how you carry yourself as a man. What you're wearing, how you present yourself. And now, they don't even tell you, you don't even have your head up high anymore because you're doing this when you're walking. When I saw my father this summer, that was the first thing I told him is I wanted him to understand that it's like my sons and myself, we all walk with our heads up. When I go walking in the morning, I speak to everybody I see. Because you can see what happens when you approach people you don't know. There's a wall up. And you got to lower the wall. You don't want to possess them, don't really want to get to know you, but I'm saying that you are alive in this world and I'm greeting you with kindness. So, hey, Blue Marvel, for healing the pineal gland, bananas, avocados, watercress, pineapple juice. I eat bananas every day with my cereal. And I just bought Hy-Vee. We have Hy-Vees up here, and I bought some of the best grapes I've had in a while. They're still not mushy. Like, I hate frozen grapes because they get mushy, So it'd be like weeks where we don't even buy grapes because they be them frozen grapes. But these grapes are good and perfect. When I get done here, I'm gonna probably eat some. Oh, Blue Marva, what's happening? I'm sorry.
You got to have vision.
James Gant, what's happening?
Hump, baby.
Oh no.
You got to have vision.
Let's see. I saw something. I think it's kind of funny, maybe. No, I missed it. It's okay. I'm not going to go on too much longer. I need to lay down. What are these? Oh, they had these in the store. Let's see. These? I swear these were in the store. I don't care. I don't care enough to show it. I don't care. I've been up since early in the morning. I wake up and I start to yawning. That's some of that Roxanne Shante. Early in the morning. I wake up and I start to yawning. I don't know what the fuck this shit is. But yeah, I'm not going to go too much longer. I'm getting tired. But I guess the best advice I can give is just be yourself. Love yourself so you can receive love. Find joy every day. Like I tell the story when I pet my cat. I pet my cat every time like it's the last time I'm a pet him. I don't, how we just go through life and do things just to go through motions. Because we have so many moments that we never appreciate the given moment. Like when I walk around the sacred lake that I walk around, it's like I always thank the trees. There's several trees I actually touch because I'm thankful that I get to be there and I want to connect to that area. I want any energy that I can get from that area, to build up. So it's a connection there that is like I'm touching these trees and these trees know I'm coming because trees talk to each other. Like, our friend is here. So that's what I am. I'm a friend of this group of trees. But I become a friend of all the trees because I notice them. I notice the bushes. I notice the animals, the ducks, the swans, the storks, the storks. I notice them. The larks, the squirrels, the cardinals that I see every now and then. And this is all signs of nature saying hello to me. And I appreciate it. All of it is a sacred kind of thing. And as I've said many times, in Dr. Strange, what the Ancient One says, here I've lived all these thousands of years, and now that it's about to come to an end, I'm really just trying to hold off of all these moments. I'm trying to hold on to them. Because again, they flip. A person that's lived that long knows that death is okay. He said, porch monkey syndrome is real. Indeed, it is. It is. They think we're lazy folks. They think we're lazy and unmotivated folks. Unless we're doing something for them. Well, guys, I don't really have a whole bunch else to say. And it's funny from our perspective as melanated people, like what does Ali say? You my enemy, when you my opposer. And that's a real thing. We have opposers. And that's where Jim Crow is still alive, because we do have opposers. And that ain't got nothing to do with victimhood. It's like we do have opposers. That ain't went away. And like that young man I said, and that's what they're afraid of. If things would have been equal right from Reconstruction, we've already proven how how much ingenuity we have of all these creations. I mean, you look at a dude like Thomas Edison that was just stealing people's ideas and then snapping his name on it. He ain't been invented light bulb. Latimer, he couldn't get it to work. His light bulb didn't go up, didn't light. His filament. Latimer invented a light bulb that is still on to this day. There's two of them. One's in San Francisco, one's in New York. These light bulbs have been on for 100 years. Latimer's light bulbs has been on he's got two light bulbs that still exist. They've each been on for almost 100 years. 80 to 90 years at least. Continuously, just left on. So they knew that if things were equal coming out of Reconstruction, if they would have done what was promised to us, give us the proper land, the world would be, America would be different. And what they were afraid of, like they said, they were afraid that we were going to treat them the way they treated us. That's always their excuse. And that has nothing to do with victimization. That is how, the Southern European, the Northern European, that's how all of them had thought in the South and the North. Because it just makes you like we look at like the killings up in Duluth. You got these Scandinavians. What would make these Scandinavians so bloodthirsty? The way the South dealt with it is because they were less numbers, they dealt with terror. Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, they had to deal in terror to stay in control. And the government sanctioned it. The overthrow of Wilmington's elected government by the Democrats did the massacre and terror. Same in Tulsa. Same almost in all the massacres. It was Democrats. The Klan comes from the Democrats. Dixiecrats. The education system came from the Daughters of Confederation. Telling you that Columbus discovered this area and this area that was already folks here. It was the Catholics that did the Fahrenheit 551, or is it 551, destroying all the written words and then say we had no written language. But yet, when these monks came over here, these Catholic monks, they destroyed everything they could. It's only 4 or 5 codexes that exist. When we know they were into the millions. I think it's about 10 to 15 codexes that exist. But yet, if the Daughters of Confederation try to tell you there's no written language. But we know when we look at these kind of things that we did leave written language. We did keep track of the movement of the planets. We did keep track of time. We had a calendar that still is in existence to this day. So if what happened after the 60s would have happened in the 1800s, this would have been a completely different country. And because we outnumbered them, this would have been a melanated dominated country. And the only way they could stay the dominant society, because if the government would have worked the way it would have been, we had more folks. We'd have had the South. If the terror wasn't allowed in the South, black folks, it would, we would have had the South, no doubt. The million people, what is it, 6, 7 million people that left from the South, they come to the North to work in the factories, would have never left. We'd have dominated farming. So we'd have had healthier foods for ourselves. Probably the melanated people in charge, we wouldn't have went into World War I, World War II. We wouldn't have went into any of those wars. We'd have been too smart for that. We'd have built things to protect us in America. So if they came over here, we could have bombed the fuck out of them to stop them from coming over here. That's how the world would have been different. They'd have left us the fuck alone. We wouldn't have tried to be the gatekeepers for everywhere. We had enough resources in America. And if they needed our help, then we would go help them. But we wouldn't have tried to control the world the way these European Neanderthals have controlled the world. We wouldn't have never went to Vietnam, Korea. We wouldn't have had that much hate in us. We would have protected ourselves here in this country from them trying to invade, because you can believe that they would have kept trying to come over and to get back. And that's why, if anything is owed to us, it's Jim Crow. Because that's when the change was done of what was promised by laws was Jim Crow. Not slavery, Jim Crow. So that's when we were wronged, and that's when terror was allowed by the government. And, government is local, so the local government, that's what they did. And, some of them say, well, they couldn't have kept the troops in the South. Well, they could have fought them mugs to stop them from terrorizing people. Again, you look up the governor in Tennessee who went to war with the Klan after the Civil War and defeated them. So this is the America that should have been. And we have to even wonder, did they manipulate time to change that? Because that terror, why was that terror allowed? I mean, why was it allowed that the South was able to be the South again? And it was worse than slavery. Jim Crow was definitely worse than slavery. The way they started murdering us, working us to death, was 10 times worse than slavery. Wasn't killing us like that during slavery, the way they killed people in Jim Crow. Now, I know some European Neanderthals is thinking, well, you're talking of victimization. Well, what have I said that's not true? What if we were allowed to thrive and take over the majority of the South like we were supposed to? That was going to be the natural way things were. We were more in the South. So we'd have naturally, by government, if we would have been allowed to govern ourselves, we'd have naturally taken over. We'd have used the resources for us that we would have shared with America. But these individual families would have suffered because these 1% would have been pushed out. And that's when you think of the 1%, you got to think of who paid for the terror. Who paid for the terror? The 1%ers today, we know names like the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, a lot of them paid for the terror to make sure that they stood in power. So today is like it is, and their children stayed in power. And we have to look at religion. We have to look at the Democrats back in the Klan, and we have to look at Catholics and Christians was also in the Klan and these terror groups. And them peoples, we ain't letting them off the hook either, because them peoples terrorized us too. They had their hands just as much in Jim Crow as the rest of them, because they benefit. They're the people that benefit off others' work. So, well, that's all the motivation I got for tonight. I will be back on Wednesday. What time is it? Yeah, it's getting late. I'll be back on Wednesday. So, just so you know, I try to keep it real compared to what? This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Big Pontiac. I think the hat says Time Lord. I think this hat's got Time Lord. Oh. A Wind. This hat says A Wind. Thank you all. Sacred. I'm sorry I didn't read your stuff. Sacred things kept holy and pure by keeping them secret.
recommended book, Pyramid Injury Handbook by Serge King. And it's actually the 13 Illuminati families that owe melanated folks reparations. Well, can't say I argue with that. Well, see you Wednesday around the same time.